Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Next Door NetAdmin. It's here. Windows 11 25H2 is on the scene. It just released on Tuesday, in fact. So it seems useful to me, and admittedly, it was also kind of necessary for my job to look into what Windows 11 25H2 has to offer. Now, there's some good news all around. First of all, the 25H2 release is based on the 24H2 release, and all it needs is a tiny little enablement package to actually make it live. It's not a full OS swap like it was from 23 to 24, or from 21 to 22, I think it was, regardless. But also, this mainly affects me because I want to make sure that the new version is cleaned up just as much as the 24H2 version was. I'm not going to go through the entire process again. If you want to take a closer look at that, be sure to go and check out my window cleaning series, and where I step through the entire process of pulling out all of the built-in apps that Microsoft has decided to pack in there, and then adding some registry settings, and then setting it all up to be just what I want it to be. So go and check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, I'm mainly going to focus on something that Microsoft has added in 25H2, which is a step in the right direction. If you go into a system with the correct policies, you can download the group policies for 25H2 even on other systems. They have that download available, and then you can put your group policy into your central policy store on a domain. But if you take a look at the group policy, I'm doing local computer policy because it's easy to show it off. But group policy, computer configuration, administrative templates, Windows components. If you take a look at this app package deployment, I'll just pull this over here a little bit. App package deployment. One of the settings here now is remove default Microsoft Store packages from the system. This is interesting. If you go and look at it, there's a lot of default apps that you can just remove by policy now. If you enable that, you can check any or all of them. Pay attention to the starred values. Some of these things have no actual user interface. Xbox, Xbox, Xbox. And so these are not necessarily removing apps that the user can see, but it is stuff that you can pull out of the image if you want. And where there's 2 stars, these apps are default for some common file types like Notepad, default for .txt, among other things. So some of these you may not wish to remove, but some of them I can imagine a lot of people will want to remove, like 365 Copilot, regular Copilot. Why are there 2 items? Because they're 2 different things, that's why. And the same MSN Weather. Okay, why? Why do we even want that? So even when you just click enable, it's guessing that you'll want to remove news, solitaire, weather, and then a bunch of Xbox stuff. Just right off the bat. These are what we think that you'll want to remove most of all. Okay, but there's a lot of other things that people might want to remove. Now, here's the catch for that. This is, first of all, only available for Windows 11 25H2 and up. But even more importantly, and this is the KB article on it, but Patch My PC was looking at this, and so far, this feature is only going to be available for enterprise and education, not your general Windows 10 Home or Windows 10 Pro. This is a big downer. It really is. You can set the registry keys, you can set the group policy, because there's absolutely nothing in this policy that says that you are only allowed to set this for enterprise and education. It doesn't say that anywhere, but that is apparently what it is currently, and that's what it says in the KB article somewhere. I don't remember precisely where, but so far it looks like it's only in the education and enterprise SKUs. Now, these policies can also be set. There we go. Streamlines the removal of pre-installed Microsoft Store apps in Windows Enterprise and Education editions. That's just what it is. It doesn't have to be done through group policy. It's group policy or MDM. Read their Microsoft Intune configuration service provider settings, and you can create your MDM policy in Intune. Yeah, on Intune. Imagine that. And you can set all of the information to say exactly what apps you want to remove by default. Now, that seems to limit its usefulness quite a bit. But here's an interesting thing. Looking further, they noticed that there is, when they decompiled it, a setting to enable on all OS versions. I'm just going to blow that image up a little bit to make it easier to see here. But there it is, remove default Microsoft Store packages, enable on all OS versions. So the code is already there that there is a feature that can be enabled later on to actually enable this removal policy for all editions, not just education and enterprise. And that will be a really cool thing. In the meantime, it's just as doable to remove the apps the old way. And that is what I ended up doing. Because this policy is currently only available for enterprise and education, I just went ahead and pulled it out the old way. And if you've taken a look at the scripts in the GitHub that I mentioned at the end of the window cleaning series, I'm going to be publishing the updates that I've made to those files for 25H2 in the very near future. It may even be live at the time that this video goes out. So check that out if you'd like. But it's still a step in the right direction. Even if it's not something that we can do right now, I still think it's a step in the right direction. The old way is valid for more editions of Windows currently. You can actually pull out more than they have listed in the group policy. For example, the group policy does not list things like Dev Home, which is an app that they've smushed in there starting with 24H2. There's no option to remove that by default. And there's a couple of other things. Mixed Reality Portal, if that's present on this version. I will admit I'm kind of using a bit of a wide range of all the possibilities. Remove them all if they're there. But Dev Home I know definitely is, and it's definitely not in the policy to remove. So there's still more things that you can pull out the hard way, even without having to rely on this policy that currently only works for enterprise and education. But it's a step in the right direction. It would have been miles better if Microsoft didn't pack in all of these useless apps in the first place. So I'm not giving them too much credit on this, but it's still just an improvement. Admittedly, an improvement to something that they broke in the first place, but an improvement is an improvement. It's a step in the right direction, like I said. So that is something that is cool. Otherwise, like I said, 25H2 is pretty similar to 24H2 because it's based on the same code. There are no big, broad changes to this. There's a couple of things like WMIC, that's been deprecated and is removed completely in 25H2. If you, like me, have still had some WMIC code hanging around in scripts, now's the time to change that. PowerShell might be a valid replacement. Your mileage may vary. It will depend very much on your use case, but certainly they intend for PowerShell to be the replacement. So maybe that works for you. Maybe you'll find something else to do the same thing. I don't know. So yeah, a bit of a short one this time, but I just wanted to highlight the biggest new feature that I see in 25H2, at least for myself, and that is the promise, so to speak, that Microsoft has started giving us actually good ways that don't require as much of a deep dive as I've done and demonstrated, ways that are more approachable for regular system admins of all experience levels. They're moving in that direction slowly. Let's hope they keep doing it let's hope they keep going in that direction. That would be great. If there's something that you would like to hear me talk about or something that you would like to see me demonstrate, go ahead and let me know right down there in the comments section. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I am your next door netadmin, and we will see you next time.